the keys are to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. We had one heck of a night thanks to Trent Williams. And actually, it all got started with a little, do you want juice, a couple nights ago. We definitely wanted juice. Hashtag Kyle took over Twitter.
Just a little bit.
And now the 49ers have made some great signings, and we're going to go through the whole thing. I'm tired, but I'm ready for the show.
It's been a crazy couple of days for the Niners here. They've brought back pretty much everyone we wanted brought back.
For the most part.
There might be a name or two left out there, but and they also picked up another solid guy, a couple solid guys to go with their team. I'm very excited. Very excited.
Yep.
Absolutely. This is big time, big news, big everything. But before we get too far into this, shout out to everyone who has already been subscribed. The day ones to the few months ago. Especially big shout out to the people who have subscribed today. Those of you who have been here since day one, you may have noticed the subscriber total jumped. It's skyrocketed. Shout out to JC, Horace, Retro Bose, Gaming Flow, Ray White, STC 703, Blind Tom 61, Daniel Burke, Zen Buddha, Myron Edwards, and Ben B. You guys are the only ones that are publicly subscribed to the page. The only ones whose information I have to thank personally. The rest of you, if you want to get big shout outs like that, make sure you're publicly subscribed to your page. You just got to change the settings in your profile. But that's beside the... We're past this now.
Right.
See this? We're almost not even ready. Our topics aren't even up to date, boys. And tell them what we got to talk about today.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about... Let's start with the first guy. Right off the bat was Kyle Juszczyk coming back to San Francisco on a 5-year, $27 million deal that made eyebrows go up. But when a base salary is only $2.275 million, it makes a lot of sense. Horst, what does this mean for the 49ers now that Kyle Juszczyk is back in San Francisco?
This one's huge. This is one of the three that I was really concerned about. Kyle Juszczyk makes their offense go. It doesn't always show up in the box score, but he makes their offense go. People might be complaining a little bit, $27 million for a fullback. First of all, he's the best fullback. Second of all, he is more than a fullback. He's a weapon. They can throw him the ball. He moves around. He doesn't just line up in I-backs or split backs and block. He's a fantastic player. He should be listed more like an offensive weapon, and he does a great job of it. I'm really excited to have Kyle Juszczyk back.
Absolutely. Super excited to have Kyle Juszczyk back. This was the one I think all of us, once they kind of started restructuring some stuff and moving things around, we were all kind of comfortable with. We all kind of thought this was probably going to get done. This was the deal that was going to get done. Him and hopefully Trent Williams. Those are the two that we were all pretty set on. And everything Horst just said is correct. Someone's asked, too, if this is a shirt with a collar. No, it's just a pullover. It's professional day. It's free agency frenzy day. I'm ready to go.
No one called me.
Yeah, totally.
It's cone casual.
Totally cone casual. Not too much cone, no suit and everything, but, pull over. A little bit mix of Kyle, a little mix of, definitely not a mix of Grant Cohn. But that's beside the point. Kyle Juszczyk, super pumped about this one. Was not shocked to see it happen. I don't think there's anything wrong with the contract and the money itself.
No.
The base salary is $2.275 million, so it's not crazy. It's not a crazy amount of money guaranteed. It's not going to be a huge cap hit for the 49ers. Hey, how you feeling on this one, man?
The way that they worked the contract, once again, was just brilliant. The fact that it's basically a 2-year deal, and then after that, they can get out of the deal if they want. The way they structured it makes a lot of freedom for the 49ers, which Paraga always seems to do with these contracts. Juice did the Niners a solid with this contract. He's making the same amount of money he made pretty much when he signed before. And he's just what the 49ers need as far as a leader and on offense. Like Horst said, offensive weapon. That there's just so many mismatches you can create when you have him and George Kittle playing together. Just all the things that he can do. We were worried about how they were going to have to adapt the offense. Now they don't have to because they got their guy back. And now the run game can take off again. We're going to get to some of the other moves that they made for that offense eventually, but they also went ahead and took care of the defense. We knew Emmanuel Mosley got signed last week. We were very excited about that, but eyebrows went up because they gave Mosley a decent contract, and you're like, uh-oh. E-Man got a base salary of $2.6 million. Was there enough money to sign Jason Verrett? You dang were better. There was plenty of money for Jason Verrett.
There's so much money right now. They could have given Jason Verrett probably more money.
Yeah, Jason Verrett is back.
Sorry, my bad.
Horst, what are you thinking about Jason Verrett back now that we got him and E-Man locked up?
Oh, I'm another one super excited. The second of the three that were most important to me. If anyone's been watching this show since last offseason, the beginning of last season, I am a huge Jason Verrett fan.
Just a little bit.
Him or Sherman had to come back, and I would prefer Verrett. He outplayed Sherman last year. He's younger. I know he's had the injury issues in his history, but he was healthy all year last year. To me, he played at a top 10 to top 15 corner level, and to get Jason Verrett, a player that played at that level for $5 million is really nice. I know why they got him that cheap. It's due to the injury history. But, man, I thought we were going to lose him when he put up on his Instagram that he was testing free agency and that he loved the faithful and, all that. It kind of seemed like he was saying goodbye. But they were luckily the 49ers were able to figure a way out, bring back a huge, important piece to their defense, lock him up. Now their defensive backfield's a lot stronger.
Yeah, their defensive backfield is not only stronger, it got significantly cheaper also. Because if everyone remembers, Sherman last year was making around $9 million. Now he ended up not making the full $9 million. We got some of that money back. Thanks, Rich, for that. Right on the way out, that was great. But we got now a guy who played better than Richard Sherman did last year, and is going to be, hopefully, if he stays healthy, is going to be coming back into prime form Jason Verrett, which no one has really seen since his first couple of years in the league, since he made the Pro Bowl. This means that you have a number one corner. I know it's only a year, but you got a number one corner that's going to cost you $4 million less. Now, granted, when the time comes, if he decides to re-sign in San Francisco and we have the cap space the next few years to make a move on him, and hopefully the cap goes up a nice big number, so you got a nice chunk of money there to re-sign Kittle, to extend Warner, and to extend Verrett. Not Kittle, excuse me. Warner, Bosa, and Verrett. He's going to command a little bit more money, probably maybe even a lot more. He may even end up having to double the contract. But this one-year offer gives him that chance to prove he can stay healthy for a full year, show that he can still compete at that high level, and then for the 49ers to have the opportunity and the chance to reward him for the rest of his career, and hopefully maybe he can end up staying in San Francisco, or maybe he can't stay healthy and you didn't end up spending too much money on a guy who has had, as Horst said, an injury history, a problem with injuries.
Yeah, he's completely betting on himself. He had a multi-year deal from another team, turned it down to come back to San Francisco, and then he got the $5.5 million, which is a modest number, but a good number for him. And I think he's trying to cash in next year. So he's going to be motivated to play the top of his game. He's working out. He's getting ready. This guy's going to be out for it. He's going to be proving that he's one of the best in the NFL, and I think he can. And once he does, then he'll be worth whatever contract he gets. Hopefully the cap goes up huge with the new TV deal that's going to be coming down the pipe, and the 49ers will be able to offer him a solid contract. And if not, at least they are taken care of for this year. They can pivot and go another way if they need to. Maybe even pick up somebody in the draft, which I still think is a possibility. It might also change the route they were planning on taking in round one, because now they don't have to take a corner in round one. So these needs are changing, which is nice for the 49ers because now all options are on the table in the draft. But Jason Verrett's flexibility, him and E-Man being able to play cover 3 and man coverage, allows the 49ers to be able to do so many different things. Both of them can also play in the slot. So if you ever have a matchup issue, these guys can jump on the inside and play that. The 49ers secondary is looking good. Jamar Taylor in the slot, and then these two guys on the outside. Still, hopefully they make another move, but at least as of right now, I would not be upset with this secondary going into the season. Horst, the 49ers weren't done there, because at midnight, or a little after midnight,
a smidge after midnight, I happened to be scrolling through the Instagram, and Trent Williams, huge tattoo on his back, silverback. It's a great tattoo, by the way. It's glorious.
And next to it says, forever faithful with the winky face. That was the most excited I've ever been to see a winky face in my life. And we knew he was coming back, and we just had to confirm it. Once we confirmed it, we were ready to roll with the video. But this was the most excited night we've had in a while. How excited are you to have Silverback back with the 49ers?
And this, of the three guys I said, was the most important question of the offseason for the 49ers, was they needed to either bring Trent Williams back or find someone close to him to replace him, which would not have been easy. I believe that Trent Williams is the premier left tackle in the game at the moment. He went 6 games without missing one block in a row. I mean, that's unheard of. That's unbelievable. Trent Williams, I don't care what they had to pay him. I honestly don't. He's the best left tackle in the game. He deserves to get paid that much. But he actually, for this year, his $8.5 million on the cap is not bad at all. I know it's going to jump up high here in the next couple of years, but the cap should also jump a lot here in the next couple of years. But they had to bring Trent Williams back. Whoever is playing quarterback for the Niners next year, whether it's Garoppolo or someone else, can sleep a lot easier at night knowing that they have Big 71 over there protecting them.
I think this, for every quarterback, too, like that is an option for the 49ers. I know Deshaun Watson's probably sitting there right now very happy because I know San Francisco is one of his destination locations that he wants to end up to. He's super excited to see Trent Williams re-signed in San Francisco. This was the thing, like we all said, I was pretty confident and comfortable it was going to happen. It was just a matter of what was the money going to be, what was the number going to be. A lot of 49ers fans are freaking out right now on fan pages. They are losing their minds. Overpaid for the guy. $138 million is too much for a lineman. Yada, yada, yada. Guys, the guaranteed money is $55 million. The fact that they were able to pull this off, and it's only about an $8 million cap hit this year. The cap hits are going to come over the next 2 years specifically, because I think the last year, I believe, and if I'm not mistaken, is a team option, correct?
Yeah, they basically can get out of this deal after 3 or 4 years, and it was what they needed to do to make sure they could sign him, and also to spread the money out along the contract, so that way they could make this deal happen.
But that's huge because for the 49ers, there has been he missed the last couple of seasons. He performed at the best level of any lineman in the NFL last year, so you're able to reward him for 2 of the 3 years of the guarantee on the contract in terms of years. And then there's a 4th year that's kind of the reward year or the team option year if it's going to end up working out. I know he had said roughly he was going to play about 4 to 6 more years in the league is what he was thinking and looking at. So this covers a majority of that. If he starts to tail off there at the end of the first 3 years of his contract, you can part ways with him. You can let him go. He can go find where he's going to play the last few years of his career, or maybe he decides to retire after that. And if he's still playing at the elite level, you get to lock him up for another year without having to overpay drastically, and potentially offer up the last couple of years after that and re-sign and extend him so he finishes out his year in San Francisco. It's the perfect amount of flexibility, paying a guy a lot of money without stretching yourself too thin and leaving yourself no cap flexibility in the future.
Yeah, they definitely made it, capable of being able to restructure at the end of his contract and then make it manageable. I mean, that's what they do. The 49ers front office really works these contracts to make sure they work out. I love the fact that Bakhtiari is so salty that Trent Williams got $10,000 more per year than him just to make sure he was the highest paid tackle in the league. He deserves it. I know a lot of people have questions because he's 32 years old, but he's still the best in the league. And when you have a chance to lock down somebody that's the best in the league, like we did with Joe Staley, who was one of the best in the league, this guy is the best in the league. And the fact that you sign these guys late, is it a risk? Of course. But you have to know what coaches and teammates are saying about him. Front office get a very good feel if a guy is going to be dedicated after a huge contract. I think they know what they're getting from Trent Williams, and they feel very comfortable giving him this amount of money, because they wouldn't give him this amount of money. They're worried that he was going to let his work ethic or anything slip, but he's not. This guy's going to be dedicated. I think he wants to win a championship. The 49ers are going to give him the best opportunity to do so. Thank God he didn't go to Kansas City or somewhere like that.
Oh, God. Can you imagine?
Yeah. But you know what, guys? Trent Williams wasn't done breaking news.
No, he wasn't.
Because he also broke that Alex Mack, the center from the Atlanta Falcons,
Let's go.
The Atlanta Falcons, has signed with the 49ers. This was a huge one. We thought this was going to this is a possibility.
We've been talking about this
Right.
for a couple of weeks now. If you missed it, we did a free agency
it's been
special.
over a month.
It might be a month.
It
yeah.
may be a month. It's been a long time coming on the pod. We've been talking about it forever.
Yeah, big time. Horse, what are you feeling about Alex Mack coming in at center?
First of all, anyone that doesn't think offensive linemen deserve high pay never played football in their life and doesn't understand the game. Because if you watch the Super Bowl, you saw what happens when a line doesn't play up to par. Even a guy like Patrick Mahomes looks real mediocre. Second of all, I am ecstatic that we got Alex Mack. He is I know he's 35, 36 years old 35. Now. He is still one of the best 5 centers in football. He's very durable. He's missed like 2 games in the last 10 years. The guy played in the Super Bowl with the Falcons with a broken leg. He played that whole playoff run with a broken leg.
A broken freaking
and
leg.
Didn't come out. So the guy is a beast. He's been one of my favorite players for a long time. I played center. I like the position. I'm really excited they got him. $5.5 million for a top 5 player at their position. It's a fantastic pickup.
Not only that, but you didn't extend yourself too big with him. It's not a long-term thing. So anyone's going, we signed Alex Mack, but he's old. This is a bridge center. This is a guy to try and get you through until you find your center of the future. They signed him on a 1-year deal this year. If you don't have a guy on your roster going into next year that you're comfortable with, you're either going to try and draft one in the draft, you're going to try and sign another one in free agency, or you're going to try and re-sign this guy again for maybe the same amount or a little bit less money the following year and just use him to bridge your way to whoever the next starting center is. Maybe they feel like it's Brunskill. They just don't feel Brunskill's ready yet to take over. Maybe he needs 1 more year, they feel like, and so they're going to prep him, and he's going to be kind of that guard center swing position, playing all over the place. There are so many different options, though, with the signing of Alex Mack for that offensive line and things they could do. You can go after a tackle in the draft, move McGlinchey inside. You could deal McGlinchey if someone's interested in McGlinchey and just draft another tackle, replace McGlinchey there, and roll Young with McGlinchey and Brunskill on that right side. I don't think that's the option. I think they're probably just going to try and draft a center, roll with Brunskill at guard is my feeling now. Ant, how are you feeling on this?
I really like Alex Mack, and I think he's going to stabilize the interior offensive line. The fact that he already knows the system inside and out, he's going to be able to make all the calls right away. This guy is an all-pro level player. I mean, this isn't just a guy that we think can be an all-pro. He's been an all-pro. So right away you put him in, and with him and Trent Williams, they are 2/5 of what could be an outstanding line. I know we have the concerns about Mike McGlinchey, and those are good concerns. He did play light last year, and it affected his play. So can he step up in a big way? I think he's going to, because I think he's feeling the pressure. A lot of people got to remember he's going to be playing for a contract. Whether the 49ers exercise their option on him, the 5th-year option happens April 1st. We're going to get a good idea of how the 49ers actually feel about him before April 1st. So then we'll be able to decide. And I think that 12 might be a luxury pick for the 49ers. They could go Slater if he's there.
Absolutely.
If they go Slater there, I could see them either one or two ways, putting Slater at guard or putting Mike McGlinchey at guard. I would think it would be Slater, and then Brunskill becomes your swing tackle. That is the best offensive line option for the 49ers, in my opinion. So hopefully they do that, because I think, why not? If you're going to go all in and you're going to be the best running team that you can be, you do that. You make sure that you help Jimmy Garoppolo be successful if Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback. I know there's a lot of questions about that still. The fact that they haven't restructured Jimmy makes me think that's a part of the reason, because if you were restructuring him, more than likely he would be back next year. So that is a big question moving on. The 49ers also didn't just address offensive line needs, but also defensive line needs. First off, by restructuring Dee Ford. They restructured Dee Ford, a 2-year deal worth $24 million, which pretty much freed up, from what I've heard, there's no official word on it, a little over $6 million. Horst, that helped them sign one of their own and somebody that could help off the edge that reminds us of Dee Ford. But let's start with our own first. Breaking news that came out today, DJ Jones is returning on a 1-year deal with that veteran exemption of $2.2 million, $900,000 base salary this year. That's the cap hit. That's an impressive deal for the 49ers to work out.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of DJ Jones, and I think, unfortunately for him, injuries may have helped the 49ers here keep him back.
Yep.
Because I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of a football player he is. When he's out there, their run defense improves considerably. I don't have numbers in front of me. I just know in 2019 when he got injured in the playoff run, I love Defoe, but their run defense suffered after he went down.
Yeah.
He's a big time. He's a true one technique nose guard type guy. And as I always say, nose guards are the best looking guys on the field and the smartest. So bringing him back, I think if he stays healthy, this is huge because he's a big time player when he's healthy, and he's another guy that's going to be playing for a big money deal because he has the potential, if he puts a full 16-game season together at his potential, to be a highly paid guy next year. Probably wouldn't be with the 49ers, but he's a guy that's playing for big money.
And I think that's part of the reason why he took this offer, because I think he probably could have gotten a little bit more out on the market with another team. He probably could have gotten closer to $5 million if he really, really wanted to and really, really pushed and found the right situation. The problem is that situation would have been a losing team, a losing organization, with a coach maybe he's not as familiar with and a system he's not as familiar with or comfortable with. And he knew I could take a little bit less right now, hopefully went out for the job, be a guy who's on the field for 70% of snaps, and then turn that in and capitalize on a big fat contract somewhere else next season with a team maybe that isn't in that situation he would have had to sacrifice this year if he didn't come back to San Francisco. So next year you might be able to capitalize and not have to play for a team that's a bottom feeder where, yeah, you're getting paid good money, but you're getting your face kicked in every single game. You're getting doubled every time, every snap on the line in the trenches because you're the only guy in there who can generate any sort of pass rush or stop runs on rundowns. For DJ Jones, this is great. For the 49ers, it's great because it's only going to cost $2.2 million.
Yeah, I thought that there was going to be a contract out there for DJ Jones, especially maybe with the Jets. I thought that was a possibility of him moving there.
Agreed. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it would make sense. You know, he is a true one technique, like Horst said. Those guys are your run stoppers, especially on base downs, first and second down. And he was going to be a big loss. It was going to have to be Kevin Givens and Darion Daniels unless they drafted someone. And that is a reach because DJ Jones outplays those guys. Now, Givens is a good player and is up and coming. Now, what we're seeing with these free agent signings is you're seeing the high-end guys go and kind of the guys that were fringe low-end guys go. The middle class of this free agency class has not signed anywhere. That's why we haven't seen some of the other guys come off the board yet, wondering where these guys are going to land. But I think that it was nice that the Niners were able to lock up DJ Jones. And, I mean, now their defensive line, we have the starters back from last year. Horst, there is still questions about D Ford, though. I know he's been rehabbing in Santa Clara, and he's preparing for a comeback. The restructure was nice because it gave the 49ers flexibility. Flexibility to sign someone that reminds us a lot of him. What did you think about that signing, Horst?
I'm assuming you're speaking about Samson Ebukam.
I am.
Yeah.
Sorry I didn't say his name. Apologies.
Sorry.
It's almost like you handed that off for a reason. That's crazy.
Sorry, Samson, if I'm butchering your last name here. I'm just going to refer to him as Samson.
Sosa.
Does he go by Sosa?
I don't know. I've seen it all over social media. Sosa.
We're
Bosa and Sosa.
Well, Sosa
Sammy
is
Sosa.
a guy. If I didn't know much about him, I'm not going to sit here and Grant Cohn you and act like I knew who he was or all this stuff. And I knew, but I've been watching clips of him, since the 49ers signed him. They got him for cheap. I really like his skill set. He's turned it into some production. He hasn't gotten huge snaps in Los Angeles, but he was, as Ant pointed out to me, he was a 4.45 guy coming out of college playing defensive end. He was born in Nigeria and moved to America later, so he's still, although he's like 25, 26, he's still growing into football. Mm-hmm. As far as football goes. He's definitely has not reached his peak. He's one of those guys I'm really excited for Chris Kasarik to get his hands on. I think could be this year's Kerry Hyder. Honestly, what I'm thinking. And they got him for cheap. Once again, a guy like that. And then as far as the D Ford thing goes, I love D Ford. I'm a big fan. I'm not going to hate on him like a lot of people do. He cannot help that he got injured. It happens.
True.
That was great of him to help clear up money. And as far as we heard, D Ford is still preparing to play this season. If D Ford plays this season, that would be fantastic. I'm not counting on it anymore because of the last year and the severity of that injury. But if D Ford comes back and is close to the player he was, their defensive line, we're talking top 2-3 defensive line again.
Yeah, no, easily that. The big thing for me with this guy is he's got a lot of potential. He's done a lot of moving around in that Rams defense. They've changed a lot of things. He started off as an inside linebacker, left inside linebacker, then he moved to an outside linebacker when they changed their scheme a little bit, and he's kind of settled into that outside linebacker role, which, again, for everybody, the outside linebacker will transition into a D-end in our system, so don't panic, don't freak out and think, oh, God, this
you can do that?
You can.
Oh,
It's crazy, but you can do that.
I didn't know that.
Sure.
I heard rumors.
I've heard rumors too. The thing I like is that over the last 3 seasons, let's not go there. Let's go from 2019 as a linebacker, as an outside linebacker, more of a pass rushing role. In a 3-4.
He's
10 QB hits and 7. So he's had 17 QB hits in the last 2 seasons compared to just 10 in his first 2 when he wasn't rushing a whole lot. So its production is slowly going up. His sack number has also increased. It's 9 over the last 2 seasons. Again, he went from just 5 games started in 2019 to 14 this last season. So he just started to get a little bit more of a push, a little bit more of a run. We'll see if it translates. I have a lot of faith in Kasarik. Mm-hmm. I know Grant Cohen's just starting to get on board with Kasarik. We've been on board with Kasarik since Kosarik. My apologies, Kosarik, since day one.
Yeah,
we did our behind the whistle segment on him way earlier, before we were doing video podcasts. I don't know if you want to go back and try and watch those. It wasn't the same level of content and quality that we have right now.
But we put our heart into it.
We did put our heart into it. We poured our souls into it. We would appreciate if you go back and check that video out. I'll try and link it after this thing gets done being live. But I believe in the right system with the right coach, and I think Kosarik is the right guy. I think you can get a lot out of this guy. The speed is definitely not a factor. He's got a high motor. He's willing to do the things he needs to do. Kerry Hyder is probably the best comparison to what he could potentially be in terms of the role he could play on the team and the production. I don't know if it's going to be bigger than that because I don't know how often he'll be on the field on pass rushing downs if D Ford's healthy.
I think he will. I think that they brought this guy in and they see an extended role for him. 163 snaps, 4.5 sacks. Okay. That is impressive with the amount of time that he's on the field. Here comes an increased role for him on obvious passing downs in the nickel. Rushing him, if D Ford is there, D Ford and Nick Bosa out there together with Eric Armstead is exactly what the 49ers need. We talked all year last year about speed off the edge. This guy is that. I have been a champion of Azeez Al-Jawlari coming out in the draft because I wanted that edge presence that we lost with D Ford. This guy fills that role. He's exactly Azeez Al-Jawlari's size, 6'2", 240 to 245 pounds. He is faster than Al-Jawlari.
Yeah. Might not be faster than Al-Jawlari. Don't know for certain. We'll have to get back to you on that. Stay tuned.
If Al-Jawlari runs a 4.4, I will be completely shocked. I think he's super fast, but I think he's like a 4.5, 4.6 area. But this guy's already done it in the NFL, playing for the Rams, so he's got experience. I watched some of his technique. It's pretty good. He gets underneath offensive linemen, gets them in the air. He's able to not only push and collapse the pocket, but also speed rush around the outside.
His first step is quick.
It is, and that's the thing about D Ford. He's also strong like that and able to do that, where Ojulari's more of just a speed guy around the outside, dipping the shoulder, getting around with the rip move. So this guy's a more polished player at this point. It doesn't mean the 49ers won't go edge at some point in the draft, which I think is still a possibility, and even interior line, maybe Aleem McNeil or something like that.
If we go Aleem McNeil, I might lose it.
But I think that they definitely addressed an issue here.
With excitement.
And, other things that happened that we did, we got to bring up that we lost a couple of guys as well.
Sure.
Kendrick Bourne went to New England, getting a 3-year deal worth $22.5 million. Are you excited about that?
So long, farewell. Beater saying goodbye, I think is the song. I think that's how it goes.
I will say this. I thank Kendrick Bourne for everything he did for the Niners.
Absolutely.
He made some big catches over the years. He's a good player. 3 years and $22 million. I understand why the 49ers didn't match it.
Agreed.
And then also the other guy that we lost, Horst, was Solomon Thomas, leaving and going to the Las Vegas Raiders. He can make up to $5 million. I think the one thing that stuck out to me was the fact that New York Jets did not sign him. The fact that they didn't sign him to this similar deal makes me think that even Robert Saleh questions him.
Solly, I feel bad because he seems like a great guy.
Yeah, I think he's a great guy.
And I don't think it was a lack of hard work. And I know he had some issues with his sister passing away, and it got his mind off the game for a while. I still don't think he's a terrible player. But if I had to pick between DJ Jones or him coming back, it's DJ Jones, and it's not even close.
Right.
He's just outproduced him and outplayed him. I'm not saying Solomon can't go on to have a solid NFL career. I'm just saying if they had to pick one of two or maybe two of three, and it was Samson Ebukam and DJ Jones, it's once again not even close between those two, between those guys. The other thing you're forgetting to mention, Ant, is after his magical return, we lost Marcus Goodwin.
Are you sure I forgot? Or I just hadn't brought it up yet?
My bad, sir.
They straight up yeeted him the day after getting him.
Also, back to more serious matters and people that play football. Kendrick Bourne, 7 years, $22 million, or 3 years, excuse me, I'm thinking $7 million.
Yeah.
3 years, $22 million is too much. I actually like Kendrick Bourne. I think he's a fun guy to have on the team. The other players seem to really gravitate towards him.
Yeah, I think he brought energy.
And he's made some good plays.
Yeah, he did.
And Alex just doesn't like him because Kendrick Bourne is the man. I think he'll have a successful career in New England. But those of you that think Kendrick Bourne is a number 2 receiver need to watch more football.
Correct. Which is why Megan was saying Pats fans aren't too excited if he's the number 2 option. Tommy also wanted you to know it's Marquise, not Marcus. But
it is Marquise.
Shout out.
Good one.
Shout out, Tommy.
The comment I want to make right now. I'm not going to.
That's true. Jaron Austin also brought up Bourne got paid. We wasn't about to give him that. Absolutely. Jaron, if you're new to the channel, I don't know if you're probably fairly new. I don't recognize the name too much. I'm not a big fan of the Kendrick
I believe
Bourne.
Jaron was on last week.
He was on last week. I'm not a big fan of the Kendrick Bourne, and it's mostly just because of the dancing and the being super excited about catching insignificant balls that don't matter and dropping ones that could help extend drives. I'm glad he got paid. I think every guy in the NFL, especially guys in the NFL that are playing, if you're on a roster, you're consistently on a roster, you have a role in a team, you're obviously working hard. You're obviously doing the things that you need to do to be successful in the NFL. So I'm not a hater by any means. I'm happy to see him go off and succeed somewhere and for someone to break him off a little something. I'm hoping that being in New England will actually be good for him in his career and his development, because that's going to be a strict environment there with Belichick. There are certain things you're going to have to get done and do. And it's a little surprising that the Pats are the team that offered him and that he accepted. And it's because I don't necessarily think that those are his strongest qualities as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he goes and thrives in New England. And if he does, good for you, sir. And I'm glad you found the right situation and environment that you could blossom in. But am I banking on it?
Or maybe they signed him because they wanted somebody that Jimmy Garoppolo felt comfortable with.
So you're going to go with that. You're going to go with the Pats are dealing situation, eh?
Maybe they are built. What did they do? They added tight ends that Jimmy Garoppolo likes to throw to, and they added a speed threat down the sideline.
Oh, and real quick, too. Gary, don't hit the like button more than once. I know Stream Element says to hit that like button. That's more for the people who haven't hit it yet. So if you've already hit it, you're covered. Just ignore Stream Elements.
Yeah.
Oh, Caleb says to let us know that Ebukam turns into a beast in Madden franchise mode.
True.
Oh, nice. Well, I appreciate that. That's some insight into the future.
Absolutely.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
Also, Akilla Witherspoon went and flew the coop and went to Seattle, and now he's going to be covering Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel.
You broke before you could finish saying it.
Shaquille Griffin bolted. He was like, yeah, I'm done with Deebo Samuel just, wrecking me every single time we play. Now it's Akilla Witherspoon, I dare you to flex on Deebo Samuel or George Kittle and see what happens. But in all true, honesty, I do like Akilla Witherspoon. I think that he had too much inconsistent play. I would much rather, because they were talking about giving him the veteran exemption, I would much rather them give it to DJ Jones than Akilla Witherspoon.
Agreed.
So I'm 100% behind what they chose to do, and I understand why he left. He's got to do what's right for him. He's still a solid player, can still be something, and he could be a pain in our butts for the next, year or so. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think he might end up being like how DJ Reed gave us problems last year. DJ
Reed was covering River Craycraft.
Well, we brought River Craycraft back, didn't we?
Of course, we have to fill up the 90-man roster. It's going to be 53 eventually, Horst, and he is not going to be there.
And then he's going to be sitting at home as the Niners make the playoffs going, as we go
Yeah.
on.
There's no way River Craycraft is making the 53-man roster.
No. Does that upset you? That River Craycraft
are you
won't make
upset
it?
that we don't have Craycraft?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Big River, I'm not going to lie, completely.
Look at this. What a name.
I mean, I agree, maybe.
Is it even original?
River?
I mean, there's tons of rivers out
Is
there.
there?
Are there?
Oh yeah.
I don't
Nile?
I don't paint.
Yeah, McCollum.
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
You guys are absolutely
American.
ridiculous.
That's in Sacramento, Alex.
Shout out to Rome, the upsetter, who said fastest Niner channel. I know I hit you up in the comments and said we appreciate it, but thank you. We try.
Yeah.
We do try. Someone had brought up a little earlier before we move on to a couple of the other guys that we need to talk about. It looks like Curtis Samuel is off the market. It looks like he just signed with somebody. That's a little upsetting. I think we all were kind of hoping he was a guy that maybe the Niners could.
Right, that would have been nice.
Who'd he go to?
I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll have someone pull it up and look at it.
Someone tell us who he went to.
Yeah, someone in the comment section. Jared Austin, you talked about it. So
Coco Smooth has said that Spoon can lose track of players in a different jersey now.
I mean, he could.
He's going to the football team.
He's going to the Washington, name redacted, so congratulations to Curtis Samuel. That's a little upsetting for us. I think we're all kind of hoping we could maybe snatch up a guy like Curtis Samuel. He'd be a good number 3 option.
He runs real fast.
He does run real fast.
The Seahawks making a big move with Gerald Everett at tight end.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
They're trying to shore up that tight end.
Backup tight end?
Yeah, they're trying to shore up that tight end position
terrifying.
with other ones. The other thing that got brought up earlier, someone said basically goodbye to Fred Warner now because of all these contracts, especially the Trent Williams contract.
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye to Fred Warner. We're not going to have enough room to sign him as well as Bosa with all these contracts. I disagree.
I think you just got to look at what the salary cap ends up being. I think next year is going to be a huge rebound year. You're going to start getting, a lot of good stuff, as far as contracts go. I think we will hear something on Fred Warner eventually, but they will franchise him if they have to. They're not going to let him go. So he's going to be sticking around. As far as Nick Bosa goes, he's coming into year 3. They have him on 5-year contract because they will exercise his 5th-year option 100%. So I don't think we need to worry about extension for him for a couple years. So right now it's a little early to think about that. And as far as building the franchise, you got to do the best you can for now and prepare for what's coming up. But I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves with Nick Bosa. Fred Warner will be the next one we take care of. And we've seen that as long as you know how to strategically, position these salaries so they don't, land on each other, big numbers on each other and the same year, They'll be okay. So I think they can still work it out. And if they didn't think it could work out, they would 100% be trying to trade him to get a big-time player. They're not going to just let him leave. So the fact that they haven't moved on from him shows me that they definitely plan on bringing him back.
Yeah, there's no way Fred's not in their plans. I mean,
yeah, I don't think so either.
I'm pretty sure they watched the same games we watched the last couple of years. There's no way they're letting him get away. And like you said, if they didn't think that Fred was worth that contract, they would trade him this offseason to get peak return for him. And that ain't happening. So I don't think Fred's going to go anywhere.
Tommy Huxley earlier, and he pointed this out to me just now. Earlier he said, roasting Grant, Horst, he has been like a brother to you. Are you going to let him roam the streets without food, water, and a toilet?
Yes, I will. I saw it earlier, Tommy. I was just waiting until a more open moment to bring it up. That was hilarious. Thank you.
It is. Chat, I'm also not sure what is going on with our chat functionality here to our right. If for some reason it won't reset, it won't show up your guys' comments, so I'll have to take a look at that after the stream. I tried refreshing it, so that's why I went black screen there for a little bit. My apologies. We're having some technical difficulties, but hey, we're here. We've been chatting with you. We'll try and get to some of your questions. If you guys have some questions right now, too, let us know. Someone had asked earlier, Ant, what we thought are the next moves potentially for the 49ers to come in free agency. Are there any more signings that we should be expecting or any more moves for them to be making?
Well, I think that the one name that's still kind of on the tip of our tongue is K'Wan Williams. I think that if they could make that move and sign him, that this offseason would be considered like a flawless offseason as far as the way they've handled it.
Before the draft.
And that's before the draft. So it's big time if they do that. They will not have any glaring holes going into the draft, which it was unheard of when we were going into free agency. So I think that is the main one. I still think that signing another receiver is a possibility. I know a lot of people are chiming in that they want Juju. I don't think Juju, as far as money goes, will make sense. So I'm not sure that's going to happen. But I wouldn't mind if it happened. I'm just saying that's another guy that I keep hearing and seeing. I think they're also, Kerry Hyder is still a possibility to bring back because he fills a different role as a base, down defensive end that they could have kind of in that Deion Jordan type role. But it all depends on how much money. If there wasn't a market for DJ Jones, there might not be a market for Kerry Hyder. So that would be kind of curious too.
The other thing I think too that people need to consider and look at is what they do in regards to Kwan Williams. K1 Williams, excuse me.
Tommy's going to get you.
He's going to get me.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
my
Tommy.
gosh, how
Tommy,
dare
please,
you.
Tommy, don't do it.
Let him have it, Tommy.
K1 Williams. I think he's not someone I would see them signing or making a move on here in the next couple of days. It might be a little bit.
Why?
I think they want to see what his value is on the market before they offer him something, because I think he's going to wait no matter what. So I think they want to wait to see what happens.
Fair.
Because for them, I think they feel they can get somebody in the draft that maybe isn't as up to speed and maybe as up to par in terms of just the level that he plays at, but is going to be fairly close, because I think they're going to focus. They've been focusing on the edge rushing position. They added some pieces. They restructured D Ford. They think he's obviously going to be able to at least play. Maybe won't practice the whole year, but he's playing, and especially on pass downs, maybe 20% of snaps. And they can go with that position in the draft. So if they don't make a move on K1 and he ends up signing somewhere else, they're definitely going to be taking a corner. I don't think, though, they would take a corner in the first couple of rounds. I think it would be 3 or later.
I think that if they let him go, they will take a corner probably in round 2. Asante Samuel, if he's there. Okay. I think they'll be looking to get him. They have already interviewed him, and he would fit perfectly in that role. So that's when you might see them go corner route. I would rather have K1 Williams back. I understand the Asante Samuel pick. I like him. But I would rather have Williams back, just depending on the price. But I know there's like 4 or 5 teams that are in on him. Yeah. And so he was kind of waiting for some of these guys to come off the board. Now, once the Trent Williams one came down the pipe, the 49ers knew what money they had to do. That's why you saw, boom, one deal get done with Alex Mack, DJ Jones gets done. They know how much money they have to play with. They also probably still in their back pocket have a Laken Tomlinson extension, which could free up more money. So that could be a possibility coming down the road. So maybe even a restructure of Jimmy Ward if it got to it, but those are still moves they can make if they need to make another splash.
Remember, people, we are the ones that told you guys this could happen, and if the 49ers front office would make it happen. Stop listening to those negative reporters that right away were, we can't bring back Trent Williams. We have $10 million. We can't sign anybody. They figured it out, right? Just like we were confident they would. Front office, I think we need to give a big ups to...
big time.
How do you say his name?
Parag Marath.
Parag Marath. He did a fantastic job.
What incredible teamwork here on this podcast.
Yeah.
You don't know a name, you throw it to the other guy. You don't know a name, throw it back and forth.
Well, it's not that I don't know the name. I don't know the exact pronunciation of the name.
Yeah, exactly. You're not confident in the pronunciation of said name.
Tommy Huxley says that Alex is upset Tom Compton's gone.
Oh yeah, so sad.
Yeah.
It's a very sad day indeed. Tommy also had mentioned earlier too. He thinks Hyder, Tart, and K1 are gone. Tart is 100% gone.
100%.
Yeah, they're under no circumstances are they going to be.
He left a tart taste in my mouth with his injuries.
Where he lands is a big question because I don't know if there's that many landing spots for him.
And the Jets have Marcus May at strong safety, so.
And they got what's his name from Seattle last year, right? When they made the trade,
McDougal.
Yeah, yep. So they're completely set.
Yeah, so he ain't going there.
No, I agree. Leonardo Cruz, says the front office is kicking ace. Yeah. They are 100% kicking big-time ace. Gary just asked one simple question with one simple word, Watson.
Like Sherlock Holmes' friend?
No, right. I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson.
Oh,
like Dijon Mustard, except Deshaun Watson, the quarterback.
Like Dijon Sanders.
I believe that's Dijon Mustard, just... Tommy, don't get mad at him, okay? They have issues.
My apologies.
I like Grey Poupon. But anyways.
It is good. It's good stuff.
Anyways, as far as Watson goes, Michael Lombardi comes out and says on Rich Eisen that he heard from people that basically it's the 49ers or it's the Denver Broncos, and then you have the Texans not wanting to trade in the AFC. So basically, it's the 49ers. That was big that came out. Then it was also reported that the 49ers basically have the firepower to get him. The one thing that makes me nervous is when the report came out today of what Chicago had offered Seattle for Russell Wilson. They offered 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and 2 defensive starters. Exactly what the Texans were looking for, apparently, or rumored. And Seattle turned it down. Why wouldn't they have already made that same pitch to the Texans, and the Texans turned it down? I don't know. That makes me question it. But the Tyrod Taylor signing made me at least raise my eyebrows. So it's at least out there. It's out there. I know a report came out today that they said 100%. I think Michael Silver said that he is going to be traded. He just doesn't know where.
Of course that's like saying, the weather, it's not raining outside when you're standing outside and there's no rain.
So you're calling him a meteorologist.
Like saying
essentially.
Because meteorologists are just weather guessers.
There you go, eat today. It's true. It was a little bit ridiculous. Of course they're going to trade him. He's already said he's going to sit out.
Is he, though?
He's going to sit out, 100%.
By the way, Tommy Huxley.
Yeah, he might have to sit out from all these accusations of sexual
assault.
That's
the other thing. With all these accusations being thrown out, too, and you know how the NFL is, especially with that specific thing right now, that is a big boo-boo, no-no, oh, goodness. They're going to take that very seriously. That's if that's going to be pending for a while, any team that is going to trade for him is going to be able to get him probably at a discount because they're not going to want to take the chance.
You got to keep yourself away from that.
You do.
He did vehemently deny that.
Oh, of course. There's no evidence that's been brought forward that he really did that. We are not in any way, shape, or form saying he did that.
3 people on a lawsuit. That's it.
Yeah.
Right now.
I give Tommy Huxley a wonderful Ace Ventura reference. He said they call him Tom Ace.
Tom Ace.
I got it. That was good. Right in my wheelhouse.
What's not in your wheelhouse, though, to be honest?
Yeah.
Flowers.
Fair enough.
Seahawks.
Who really enjoys this?
Salads.
It's not even a real thing.
Salads.
Ouch. Jay Ellie asked Ben Garland with a bunch of question marks.
He's still a possibility, I think. I think Ben Garland is still... He actually backed up Alex Mack in Atlanta, so I think he would make sense as a backup. I think the only question is, because we talked about Slater earlier, if the 49ers do sign someone, they don't really need Ben Garland because if you draft someone to play right guard, then Brunskill is your backup center. You don't really need Garland. So I think all that is determined by whether Brunskill is your swing tackle or your starting right guard.
Yeah, I agree. I think Garland's a post-draft pickup.
Yeah.
He is an Air Force veteran, so
I like him. I think he's a solid player. Backup. 2019, he played great for us in the playoffs. So
that is true. He did. It really just depends on what happens with Weston Richburg.
As long as it's not Ronis Grasu.
Agreed. We can't have that problem. But the reason I'm concerned is because if you bring him back now, then all of a sudden you have Colton McKivitz, Brunskill, and Skule. Kind of as your other guys. You have like 9 guys at the offensive line. So, I guess Sean Coleman would be gone for sure. So, I'd rather have Garland than Sean Coleman, but
agreed.
Personal opinion.
Agreed. He hasn't shown a whole lot either.
He won a championship with Auburn, but after that.
Yeah.
Is that really something to hang your hat on?
That's pretty cool. I'd show off the ring.
I would show it off too, but for NFL circles, I don't think
War Eagles.
It is better than Roll Tide.
Is it?
I
think they got a lot more championships. I would say otherwise.
I think so too, but in terms of things I prefer, I'd rather War Eagle it up than Roll Tide.
What do we think of Green going to the Cards and the Niners having to defend him?
Yeah, AJ Green. That's a good signing. I think the question is going to be how do they spread the ball around enough?
And also, why are they getting older at the wide receiver position?
They're getting older in general.
Yes.
I with J.J. Watt and then him, they're definitely reaching into the early 2000s, or I don't even know when.
This was 2010.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It'd be crazy.
I think they're desperately trying to keep up in the arms race at certain positions. I feel like all their moves are the moves of a desperate organization trying to be relevant quicker rather than building it. They had some success last year, and they feel that they can just add a couple pieces here and there.
Yeah.
But the thing that keeps coming to my mind is how is AJ Green and JJ Watt going to protect Kyler Murray?
Well, Rodney Hudson is.
Well,
that was a great trade.
That was a great trade.
Giving up a 3rd-round pick to get him. He's an All-Pro, Pro Bowl player. So that was a fantastic move. But the question still is, who the heck is going to play in the secondary for them? How are they going to stop the 49ers? J.J. Watt ain't going to be able to get there all the time. They lost the pass rush of Hassan Reddick. I mean, so I mean, they don't have Patrick Peterson. What are they going to do? Buda Baker? Yeah. He's done so good against George Kittle over the years. I'm really concerned.
I'm super concerned.
Yeah.
Rich said Patrick Peterson, but Patrick Peterson is not under contract. He's a free agent
He might be being sarcastic because he also brought up Forrest Lamp, who's not a very good tackle.
Very true. Very true. So, I mean, who knows? And Peterson has ties to San Francisco as well, so he's a guy who could end up here in San Francisco, and maybe he's a guy that they put in the slot.
I don't know if Peterson is, I don't know.
It depends on how much money he would want and what he'd be willing to take. I mean, I just don't feel he's an option.
Right now, the 49ers still have cap space, so anything is possible, including a trade for Stephon Gilmore, I think it still is possible.
It's true as well. And they could still, too, another thing I think we wanted to bring up was the potentiality of them restructuring Laken Tomlinson's deal and getting some money back. And there's still always the possibility, guys, that if we're rolling with Jimmy G, that they go to Jimmy and say, hey, it's time, buddy. It's time to restructure. And he, comes to terms with that and does it to help the team and the organization out.
If they're planning on keeping him, he will restructure.
Correct.
Yeah.
I do like this question. Jay Ellie brings up who will be the kick and punt returner. Because we haven't had a good one.
Travis Benjamin.
There it is. You heard it here first, Jay Ellie.
If I had to guess, I think he was the plan last year. I mean, I think Richie James is in trouble of being replaced because Travis Benjamin is our slot option, and he also can do kick and punt returns, and he is more explosive than Richie James.
And a bit more proven player. He's had some good years.
Yeah, if you go back and watch film of him
on Cleveland,
there is an absolute reason he got that deal with the Chargers because he's a solid player. Being back with Kyle Shanahan is going to be very, very nice.
I came back to the screen hoping that it had fixed itself, and I'm disappointed yet again.
It 100% did not.
Stream Elements OBS, you're disappointing me right now. I really wanted to show all of our chat people. We have 50 current viewers right now. We are concurrently at 50 viewers.
Nice.
Shout out to everybody right now watching in the chat. That's incredible.
Keep throwing the questions, too. These are good questions.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. There's still so much time with free agency. I mean, it feels like free agency just kicked off because literally it did. Today was officially the first day of signings. And my word almighty, were the 49ers on it and ready to go. I know the big talk has been all the signings that the Patriots have signed and guys they've brought in, from Hunter Henry to Matt Judon. Yeah. I mean, they've been the meme I saw of Bill Belichick standing there staring at something and going, that's a very nice free agent class there. It'd be really a shame if someone signed all the big names.
I wonder who sent that, Horst.
I know. I feel like that was a certain somebody.
Could have been me in the group chat.
It might have been. I saw that meme though and started dying because it was so accurate. Because that's what Bill Belichick was sitting there waiting to do. And this was just, he didn't do it last year. I think a lot of people expected it to happen last year. He didn't pull the trigger because he was waiting for 2021.
He definitely struck in a big way. And before we move on, one thing that did by their signings is it made N'Keal Harry available. Mm-hmm. The 49ers were very much in on N'Keal Harry in that draft, and that's how they discovered Brandon Ayuk. They could still reach out and trade for N'Keal Harry for a late-round pick if they need to. The relationship Shanahan has with Bill Belichick could get it done.
First of all, Leonardo Cruz, we're happy to have you.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Second of all, Jay Ellie with another CB in the cards. Do you think, are you talking free agency or draft?
I think it could be either one.
Could be.
I think if in free agency, if it's the right price. I think the one that makes the most sense is still K'Waun Williams to play the slot. They've obviously said Emmanuel Mosley's our guy at one side, Jason Verrett is at the other. I think the only way if they wouldn't do that is if they do reach out and trade for someone like Stephon Gilmore, because then you bring him in, you move Mosley to the slot, which he's had some experience playing, and then you're still set because Gilmore is a legit number one.
We just need one vet wide receiver from Jaron Austin, and Monica asked him who he would get. So, Jaron, we'll wait to hear from you. vet wide receiver wise,
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton wouldn't be a bad option for the 49ers.
I think it depends on the market.
It really does.
And Jay Ellie suggested it's to replace KB, which if we got T.Y. Hilton to replace Kendrick Bourne,
Massive upgrade.
I'm the Kendrick Bourne fan here, and oh my God, the upgrade.
Yeah, that's a huge upgrade. Somebody else to keep an eye on, because I don't think they're going to have money for him now, is Antonio Brown.
True.
I don't know if the 49ers will feel comfortable with him as far as, but he's looking for that mid-round deal, or, $5.5 to $7 million, kind of what they were going to give KB. And I don't think he's going to get it from Tampa Bay, because from everything I read, they've offered him so far the minimum.
Yeah.
I know he's going to be people are going to be like, oh, I don't want him, but he's still a very good player and could be in the league. He's somebody that could be low costing, but man, could Kyle Shanahan do some things with him? And he always experienced wanting to come play with the 49ers, so.
Big time. And JLE also said corner is pretty deep in the draft. It is. In fact,
100%.
if you haven't watched our corner special, as soon as we get done here with the live stream, go check that out. It is an hour and 20 minutes of coverage on the corners in the draft.
It is.
It is the longest episode to date that we've done. It was a long session in here recording. Go enjoy the fruits of our labor, because we get very in-depth with that corner class.
There are guys all throughout. We went all through all 7 rounds. There are guys that really fit the 49ers pretty much from rounds 1 through 5. And there's guys late in that draft, rounds 4 and 5, that we really like, not just in the slot, but out on the outside as well. Guys that we would be willing to move around and draft and take, which we did in our mock draft 2.0, which you can also check out.
Also,
Monica, glad to have you.
Bingo.
She just arrived.
Thank you, Monica.
she wants to know where we're at cap-wise, guys. Any idea?
Yeah, the rumor is $14 million is what's remaining.
Million.
Of course, these are all just, kind of off the cuff, educated guesses that people are making, trying to figure out all the details and the cap hits. But $14 million, just so everyone knows, they need about $9 million to sign all their draft picks. So they got about $5 million in free space. Now, you normally want to go into a season with $2 or $3 million of space, but they could use this money now, extend Laken Tomlinson or somebody like that to free up the money. Also, you're only your top 53 count against the salary. So Sean Coleman being gone, stuff like that, it's another $1.5 million. So there are cost-saving moves they can make. They still have room to make deals.
Jaron wants to know, would you try Mosley at nickel? He has played nickel for them before and played it pretty well. I don't think he's as good a nickel back as K1.
Nope.
But he can play the position, and actually mentioned earlier that both him and Verrett can play nickel, so they're both guys that can jump from inside to outside and back.
Yeah. Verrett can play pretty much anywhere you need him to play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it came down to Mosley just can't get it done on the inside, and you couldn't get the guy in the draft that you wanted to try out the nickel, the young guy, you could find the outside guy in the draft, stick him out there on nickel packages, move Verrett inside if you absolutely needed to. I don't think they're going to pigeonhole themselves into that situation. I think that they have a plan in terms of who they want to go after. Potentially, I think K1 is still the guy that they're trying to get. It's just a matter of figuring out what the number is going to be and what they can come in at. I think for him, too, if he doesn't get the contract that he's looking for and the offer that he's looking for, he'll come back and take less on a short-term deal in San Francisco where he knows he can thrive and flourish, and then try and do the same thing as TJ Jones and try and capitalize the next year.
He might be another situation where we almost get lucky that he was injured part of last year.
Correct.
I think it's the Jets. I think the 49ers have to beat the Jets out for him, because that's him returning home to New York where he grew up. He was from Jersey. So, I mean, that is really that's the biggest obstacle for the 49ers. But Deebo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, all those guys every single day are reaching out to these guys and recruiting on the daily to make sure they bring these guys back. And so they're going to do their due diligence trying to get him back. If that's the 49ers plan, the 49ers are actually thinking that's an avenue they need to go. I know Dante Whitner thinks that they absolutely need to sign him. Like, he's one of the smartest guys on the entire defense. Plus the 49ers in good positions to be successful with everything, and he can do the flexibility. So he might be back, at least on a 1-year deal. Still expect them to draft someone also.
We love you, Kenny. We love all your jokes. I love the fact that you're here like 2 days before we're even live telling jokes. So, guys, whenever you see our things go live, you want a good laugh, you can just pop in every once in a while. Kenny's got joke ready for you, waiting, just sitting there in the comments section, just biding his time.
Monica wants to know if we think Rashawn Slater is still someone they would choose in the draft, or no, since we got Trent and Mack. And I do think we covered this a little bit earlier.
Yep.
I do think they would still pick Slater if they think he's the best player out there, because you could easily play him at guard or McGlinchey at guard, but more likely him at guard and then kind of let McGlinchey's contract run out and kick him out to right tackle once McGlinchey's contract runs out. I still think he's a pretty good possibility if he falls to 12 in the draft.
The question is, does he fall to 12? He's rising up boards.
Megan D, you're about to get timed out for that. Absolutely not. Under no circumstance will I get pinched. No, M. Rieger, we will not pinch Ant. That's not happening here on this podcast.
I have green on my underwear. How do you like that?
I don't want to look, so I'll take his word for it.
You're welcome.
If we don't get Watson, who would you like in the draft, or would you stick with Jimmy G?
I'll be honest, at this point, I'd be really tempted to go up and get Zach Wilson. I'd be willing to just go in and get him and just see what happens. You have filled all these holes. You can now move up. If you need to sit him 1 year and he played behind Jimmy Garoppolo, then you do that. If not, you cut weight with Jimmy, you save the money, and you go with the rookie quarterback. I'd be all in on that.
I wouldn't mind that either. I think Zach Wilson's probably the only guy that I'd be super pumped about them going up to get. Otherwise, I'd probably prefer they just stick it out with Jimmy G.
It also makes Trey Lance an option.
It does.
At 12.
It does. I still would prefer no at 12 because you guys know how I feel, especially after his pro day. I watched
it. I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, so what exactly? So this is great. So what did you enjoy about it?
I thought that actually he looked comfortable moving the pocket.
He did look comfortable
and
moving.
He was making throws. I think a lot of times the throws that he missed, he was getting underneath the ball. That was a little bit of a technique problem because he's changed his technique some.
He has.
Things that he needs to work on. He's got months and months to figure this out.
True also.
He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen, the way that he is built and the way that he moves.
That's a high risk comparison though.
But here's the thing. He's more accurate coming out of college than him.
With less passes, less snaps,
You're
less
right.
balls thrown.
You know what else he is? A better runner.
True.
I just think that there's a lot of upside with him.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I would take him at 12. What I'm saying is I see potential in him that I can see him, if you draft him, he needs to sit. But 1 or 2 years down the road, he could be an impact player in the right system with the right coach.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I actually do agree with you, but that last part is why I don't think 12 is the right place for him to go. I feel if the Niners could trade back and get him around 20,
right,
that you would do it in a heartbeat. You don't even think about it or question it because I think it's perfect. You can take a guy there. There's no pressure on Jimmy with him at 20. You know Jimmy's your guy, at least for the next year or two, while this guy just sits in the weights. Because, like I said, the ball jumps out of his hand, and I said this in our last live stream. Ball jumps out of his hand. He does have some accuracy stuff, but part of that was his release has changed, and you can tell it's a significant change. And he's still got a lot of work on the footwork and some work on his release to do, but he just needs time. I think with time he gets better. Man, that's just a big risk at 12, I feel.
Scangarillo's back. You got the quarterback coach to work with him.
It's true.
This is a possibility because if you're John Lynch and you're Kyle Shanahan, are you afraid you missed on Patrick Mahomes, you missed on Deshaun Watson because you were waiting to get your guy, Kirk Cousins, and now that didn't pan out? Can you wait and not draft this guy if he's there? Somebody's going to want to come up and get him.
Sure.
Washington, Chicago, I don't care if they signed the Red Rifle and Fitz.
Their actual odds went down.
Yeah,
after signing
they made a move. I think that they're both going to be interested in him or Mack Williams or Mac Jones. I don't know. I want to call him Mac Williamson. The whole baseball thing's got me going.
It's all good.
At least he hit home runs and then hit his head, so he's got that going for him. But I just think that he is a possibility for the 49ers at 12 now. I didn't think that before.
Coco Smooth says that's an excellent analysis, that Trey Lance was on the money when he was on the money.
True.
Gary wants to know if we're going to have another mock draft show. He enjoys our banter.
We are. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. I know we're going to do a special mock draft, aren't we, Alex?
Oh, yes. Everyone, chat, you can get super excited about this. As a matter of fact, let me know how hype you are in the chat. We are going to do a mock draft special, and I don't believe it's next week. I will pull up the date while we're talking and come back around, and I'll circle back with everybody and confirm what the
Good.
actual date is. But we're going to have a fan-controlled mock draft before we have our mock draft 3.0. That's right, a fan-controlled where you will be able to vote in the chat simply by either typing, or there will be a live poll link that you can go to and vote, and you will control and dictate what we do in that mock draft. So if you're not already subscribed, you want to hit that subscribe button because you want to be here when that mock draft comes, because anything can happen. You can go absolutely crazy and have us trade away all of our picks, which, God, I hope you don't do.
Yeah.
You could also have us trading up and taking ridiculous players. You can have us draft 9 punters if you really wanted to. But it will be in full control of you, chat. That will be the week before we do our mock draft 3.0. So we'll have a little fun stream on that Friday, the week before our mock draft 3.0.
Right.
And then we'll get to our mock draft 3.0, in which we'll converse with you afterwards and talk about it and break it down. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And the Cardinals have officially lost Patrick Peterson. He's on his way to Minnesota to be on the Vikings.
Yeah.
So Xavier Rhodes is probably available, another potential veteran option.
By the way, I don't know much about this person, so I'm going to kick it to one of you two. Jay Ellie wants to know our thoughts on Northwestern QB Peyton Ramsey.
Yeah, the Niners are getting a lot of pub on this because they met with him. They apparently like him a lot. He's a smart player. I'm curious to see how he develops into the game, but he's definitely a late-round pick, somebody that they would consider bringing in, another developmental guy, but he's got a lot of intelligence. He's got a lot of ability, but he's never put everything together. So somebody that, maybe that like he reminds me kind of a Davis Mills, that kind of player. So maybe an option down the road.
It's true. So to circle back with everybody, April 2nd is going to be the fan-controlled mock draft. Not April 1st. We're not going to fool you. It's not on April Fool's Day. Friday, April 2nd, that is going to be the fan mock draft. Gary asked how it's going to work. Essentially, Gary, we're going to do it one of two ways. Either I'm going to run some sort of bot that's going to populate what you guys are typing in the chat currently in terms of names, and that's going to filter into this system, or we're going to post a link to a poll that you can go to, and it'll be open for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, in which you all get to vote on what we do, whether we draft, trade, trade up, trade back, etc. For the pick, we'll then do what you ask. And if it's something that needs a little bit more explanation, like you guys say, draft a corner or draft a draft position of need, there'll be a second option that comes up to say what exactly it is. So we're going to program it all in, get that all ready. It'll be fully controlled by you guys. It's going to be one heck of a time and stressful as all can be.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know about you guys, but I like being in control. But it will be fun to see what these guys get to say, because I am curious what we get to always do what we want to say and do, but it'll be fun to see what everyone else thinks as well. And if they are thinking similar to us, we'll still be giving our thoughts on what you guys do, whether it shocks us or whether we're right there with you.
It's true. Someone else had asked, Jaron Austin had said that he liked Sam Ehlinger. I think there's a guy, too, that we like late in the draft. And
I like him.
If you're not going to be going with a young rookie quarterback early, like a Trey Lance or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, then he's a guy that you could take late and sit around and develop for a couple of years. But I think that you only do that if Jimmy's the guy that you're sold on completely.
I think he's tough. He's physical. He runs the ball, so it gives you options there. If the 49ers were looking at having an alternate package also, where they wanted to use him in the Wildcat, he could also be a possibility more of a gadget guy at first while he's developing. Kyle Shanahan is about weapons. He could be somebody to take a look at. Kyle will know a lot about him being a Texas alum. He will have a good idea of what he is. I know Chris Sims kind of said how much he loved his competitive nature and the way he plays. Wasn't huge, on his arm talent and all that stuff. The more I watch him, the more I like him. So I get kind of favorites, and he's one of my favorites. But in the 5th round or something like that, I would 100% be willing to take him in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a solid late round prospect.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, him and Bichelle.
Yeah, Shane Bichelle. I think they're different. They're really different.
They are.
So, both of them are options late in the draft. The 49ers could go with. And also, they're all obviously meeting with everyone. I think there's a report every single day the Niners have met with somebody else or are interested in somebody else.
Shea Patterson's still available.
No, we don't want Shea Patterson.
Okay.
Antonio Rosales says, if the 49ers get Mitch Trubisky, we not getting Watson or a rookie QB. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if we get Mitch Trubisky, we're probably not getting a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
They could still make a move and make a deal for Watson to have Trubisky as the backup.
Well, 100%, if they sign Trubisky, they could still draft a quarterback.
Correct.
You got to remember Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks in 1 year with Robert Griffin III and Kirk Cousins. They could definitely still do that. Especially if you're signing Trubisky to a 1-year deal where he's the backup, you could still draft a rookie and just see what happens, that way. And also, they could still trade for Deshaun Watson. People forget Deshaun Watson's only going to make $15 million this year. He's very cap-friendly, way more cap-friendly than Jimmy Garoppolo. They would actually save money by moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo.
So I'm going to take advantage of this. Matt Rieger asked a real question.
Oh, my Lord.
Whoa.
We did sort of answer this a little bit earlier, but he wants to know our thoughts on the Patriots' moves and will Cam now be successful?
It all depends on Cam's throwing. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. He was successful running the ball last year. I mean, Alex watched more Patriots games than all of us.
It's accurate.
But I would say that his arm, his throwing technique was really bad last year. I don't know if he's fully recovered from the shoulder injury, but he just didn't look good. And unless he gets better at that, he's going to have issues. I know they brought Nelson Aguilar in to stretch the field. Can Cam Newton accurately get the ball to him down the field? I'm not sure. A not-so-healthy Julian Edelman, if he's not back to 100%, that'll hurt. So I think there's big questions for Cam Newton, but I did like a lot of the moves they made. Judon, what a great signing. I like that a lot.
Great signing.
Dustin Crum from Kent State.
Like him. Yep. Dustin Crum was somebody that was early on our radar. Me and Alex watched some film on him, and PFF hates him. They took him off of the mock draft
They
simulator.
really did.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of him, and it's mostly the throwing motion.
Love it.
It's
a bad technique, but
it's
it
really
works.
bad. It's really bad technique. And
Yeah.
the funny part is the irony is that I'm such a big Tim Tebow fan.
Yeah.
And the throwing motion there was pretty.
That's why I'm shocked you're not exactly a Sam Ellinger fan. He's basically Tim Tebow with a better throwing motion.
Yeah, I actually like Sam Ellinger. I'm just
That's
not. I'm just not huge. Well, I mean, part of the Tim Tebow fandom, right, was the fact that I was an Urban Meyer guy and a Florida guy, and then they happened to coincide at the same time. And the very first thing that they did upon coinciding was bring in Tim Tebow, who once I started, and this was in high school, mind you. In high school, once I started finding film of the guy and realizing, oh, this dude won a state championship on a broken leg in high school.
Broken freaking leg.
Broken freaking leg. If you haven't seen that YouTube video, you need to watch it. It's hilarious. I just immediately fell in love with him and the work ethic and just the passion.
Did you tell him?
I mean, I've tried, but
you guys
it's one of those things. People, you know how fans get. They can
Yeah.
get a little crazy sometimes. Try and give him some space. I just buy his books.
I think he appreciates it.
Matt wants to know if his throwing motion's as bad as Tim Tebow's.
I don't. I would say it's comparable to Kaepernick's.
Tommy, I am drinking a kiwi strawberry rockstar. Thank you for asking.
Oh my Lord. But back to the Patriots thing too a little bit. I think for Cam, a lot of the issues too were just he did take a little bit of a beating. The O-line came in. The O-line kind of stagnated a little bit. It struggled. He took more shots than probably he should have been taking. So I think some of the moves they made on the O-line to try and shore that up, bringing in some receivers as well. I'm not ready to give it all up on Cam, but this is probably his last shot at being a starting quarterback in the league this year with the Patriots. If he doesn't make it, if it doesn't work out this year in New England, then it's going to be really hard for him to get any other chances or any other looks as a starter. He can probably be a clipboard holder for some other team if it doesn't work out in New England, and a guy that you can trust can get something done. But yeah, this is going to be his last go around.
Well, they also could go quarterback. I think they didn't want to be beholden to one. They don't want people to think they're going to go after a quarterback in the draft. Stidham obviously didn't work out. They need to make a move there. So I think they could still go quarterback.
Nico Wilson, sorry we missed your question earlier. He wants to know if we agree that the Pats are setting it up to get Jimmy.
They may be trying to.
I think so. I think they're definitely setting it up. Albert Breer brought this up about them going after the 2 tight ends, and then also bringing in Kendrick Bourne, somebody that he's comfortable with. I think they planned on getting Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers just weren't ready to move off of him. It might even be him considering it, next year. But from what I've heard, in the next 3 weeks, the 49ers need to decide on what they're going to do at quarterback, and then that's kind of when we'll know. And they still might. I know it doesn't look like they still might move, be able to trade for him, but I think they would. So it all depends on what the Niners do. But the Niners aren't going to move off Jimmy if they don't have a better option. If Deshaun Watson's not walking through that door, they're not trading Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe they'll trade him if they drafted Zach Wilson, but even then, I don't think they would. I think they just let him compete.
Alex, I'll let you answer this one since you're the preeminent
Urban Meyer guy?
worshiper. Urban Meyer at Jacksonville. How do you think he does?
Amazing, for like 2 to 3 years, and then we'll start to see what happens. Urban's been known for that. He hasn't been a guy really ever in his coaching career anywhere he's been, whether it's Utah, Bowling Green before that, Florida, Ohio State. I mean, everyone's seen what happened to Florida and Ohio State with the health issues, and then some of the scandal stuff that happened at Ohio State towards the end. He's just a guy who pours so much into his programs and the places he's at that it just takes a toll on him physically, mentally, emotionally. And I know there's a lot of things. Everyone has different opinions on him. I've read a lot on his programs. I've talked to him before. He's just a guy who's very passionate about his programs. And yes, I have talked to him before, Horst.
Yep.
In your dream?
No, in an actual interview when I was going to be going to Ohio State.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Horst, it was like this.
Hey, Urban, do you like scary movies?
From around the corner. But no, Urban is, he's just one of those guys who he just pours everything in. And so things will probably, I have faith Jacksonville is going to look really good for the next couple of years, but the program tends to go typically as Urban goes. If Urban's health declines, the program declines, except for in the case of Ohio State.
So you think he might have a Harbaugh-ish rise and fall?
Correct. I think that's probably the best comparison you can make.
I kind of worry for any quarterback that goes there as a rookie.
Also that too.
He does not develop quarterbacks very well. Hopefully he will with his coaching staff, but Tim Tebow never changed his motion. I mean, look at Dwayne Haskins. You look at the guys, they just really don't develop under him. So I feel sorry for anyone that goes there because of that. He will use them in the run game. He will use their skills, but I don't know how much better they'll get.
By the way, guys, I did read today's rumors of an RG3 as the Niners backup.
Why?
I couldn't see that happening. Just based on all the problems they had in Washington.
Apparently they have hashed it out. They've had conversations and hashed it out.
If they've hashed it out, then
I don't know that I like it. I
hate it.
I don't know how I feel about that. Antonio,
I hate it.
Absolutely hate it.
Give me McSorley.
Throw it on his dam. Like, yeah, I ain't even.
Hey, guys, do remember we need to cover Josh Rosen before this is over.
Oh,
we're still in the midst. We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. We got time.
Okay.
Antonio Rosales says Cardinals looked scary good now. They got AJ Green and Hudson from the Raiders. I think the only team he said they are 100% a playoff team this year. I think the only person that we like out of that signing is Hudson. I think it's the only guy that we're like, that was a good move.
I think Watt was a good move. I just don't think it's a great move because now they weaken their secondary. They're counting fully on J.J. Watt being able to get home every single play. And if he doesn't, there's going to be problems in the secondary. They are obviously going corner in the first round. They've pigeonholed themselves. So Surtain, J.C. Horn, Caleb Farley, one of them is going to land in the desert.
Probably.
J.L.E. said, awful OSU QBs. You are wrong, sir. I enjoy listening to Kirk Herbstreit call college football. And he was an OSU QB.
It's true. Mariota to the Niners? Probably not.
Yeah.
I would say no.
It doesn't look like the Raiders are ready to move off of him yet.
No, I don't think they are. I think they liked what they saw out of him in the brief little flashes he had there.
And they're paying him $10 million, so as a trade, I don't see it happening either.
Your Uncle Rob just brought you a good question in.
Okay.
Rosen or RG3?
I'm taking RG3.
I was going to say, he's going to go with the or there.
RG3.
He's going or.
Yeah.
If you didn't watch the Josh Rosen or video, that should tell you everything you need to know about who we'd rather have.
Besides, we're going to get to Josh Rosen at the end of this episode.
We always definitely try. We definitely try. If anybody other than Jimmy G is starting at quarterback, it is a rebuild this year for the offense because Kyle's offense is hard to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be if there's going to be anyone but Jimmy G, it's definitely not going to be a rebuild because if they're going to move off of Jimmy G, it's because Kyle has complete faith that person is going to be able to figure out the O. This team right now, you don't make the moves that you just made if you're trying to go into a rebuild. That doesn't make any sense. So if they move off of Jimmy, it's because Kyle Lynch, the front office, the team, everyone feels like the guy that they're bringing in is a guy that's going to lead this team into the future and getting us back to a Super Bowl.
I mean, I get the comment. I really do because the thing is the
Shout out to new subscriber Tanya, by the way.
oh yeah, is the quarterbacks usually do better in the second year under Kyle Shanahan. The one thing I will point out is Jimmy Garoppolo had that 5-game stretch
It's true.
where he came in and played well. I think if it's a rookie quarterback, that 100% right, it would be a struggle. That's why I thought maybe it would be Jimmy and the rookie quarterback competing for the job. But if it's Deshaun Watson, you're just rolling with it, and the guy can make plays off schedule, so he can make things happen, and you just have to go with it. So
Well, and we saw Shanahan in Washington when he had a mobile guy that maybe didn't have the playbook all the way down. Obviously, Watson is a better player than RG3, but I'm just saying he had a mobile guy that was new to his playbook. He definitely threw in a lot more stuff that RG3 was comfortable with.
right.
Read option type base plays to make him more comfortable. So I don't think Shanahan would just stand there and watch whoever plays quarterback just flounder.
Well,
He
I think
would make changes.
we
for
also
him.
have to consider that Bill O'Brien's offense isn't that much different than Kyle Shanahan's verbiage-wise. So as long as he understands verbiage, it shouldn't be too much, too hard for him to handle, in my opinion. But
I don't disagree with you there on that. Someone had asked about.
Thank you.
I got you, bro. I got you. I saw you there, Donnie. Nice try. I was thinking about someone was bringing up Jimmy G's contract and restructuring it. Do you think they're waiting till they make a decision on Jimmy, or is they don't have any plan? I think we all kind of feel like they're waiting.
I think they're waiting.
Yeah. If they're going to keep him, they'll restructure. If they're not going to.
And I think if they don't have to restructure, they won't, because then they still have the out next year, pretty much no dead money if they cut him
Also true.
or trade him. So
I think that was kind of the thing with the Niners is, for the most part, if you feel you're comfortable with Jimmy to get you through this year and that he can, if he's healthy and can be on the field and you've shored up the O-line, that he can get you back there, then you're willing to take a chance one more year, and maybe not even restructure, but just take a chance one more year, get yourself into 2022, and then make the final decision on what it is that you need to make, because you've already gotten to a Super Bowl with Jimmy. So you don't need to panic. The question is can you keep him healthy? Can he stay healthy? Can he be on the field? If he can do those things, we've already seen what happens.
and that's 100% why they need to improve the backup position.
Agreed.
I mean, that was really, think about it. Somebody brought it up. What if Trubisky or Dalton was the backup quarterback for the 49ers this year? More than likely they would have made the playoffs, which, is pretty much what we expect, right? They're a playoff team.
Yeah.
As long as they have a decent quarterback.
To me, even with a game manager like Trubisky, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, they would make the playoffs.
Yeah. And he's got an athletic ability able to escape the pocket, extend plays. Those are all big-time things and traits that he has.
It's true. Why have we not heard from Jimmy? I don't know what they're...
What's he supposed to say?
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to come out and just say, hey...
And he did do an interview like a month ago.
He did. But he's not going to come out and say, hey, I want to and need to take less money because I haven't been on the... He's not going to say those things. It doesn't make any sense for him to say those things. So Jimmy is just... The good news is what it sounds like from Juice's conversation about Jimmy, is that Jimmy is just getting ready. He's just doing the things he needs to do, heads down. He's grinding. He's working on his health. He's working on improving as a quarterback, doing the things he needs to do, which in all honesty, isn't that kind of what you want your franchise quarterback to be doing? Not up there sucking up all the spotlight, talking about, how people are doubting him. Like, just come and do it. Come show it on the field. Do what you got to do. And, he's got his money. He's been paid. I think for him is he wants to come in healthy and improved at the quarterback position, show he's got a little zip on the ball. Mobility is not a concern. So that way there's no questions that need to be asked. He's just going to be a guy who comes out and grinds.
Yeah.
Shelton Wadsworth with an interesting point that if the Niners would have had a better O-line last year, we would have had a playoff team, even with all the injuries on defense, because Jimmy wouldn't have got hurt.
That's true. I mean, that's what happens when you lose so many guys. Richburg wasn't able to come back. Garland gets hurt. All of a sudden, you got Haranis Grasu playing center, and he was just getting eaten.
He got hurt by McGlinchey from getting headbutted in celebration.
I mean, it got scary there for a while. I mean, even Justin Skule played right guard. So, I mean, having him and Brunskill out of position all year, or not all year, but some of the year, it got weird. McGlinchey started. Yeah, it was a bad year for the offensive line, 100%.
Will Shanny utilize Juice more this year? I hope so.
That's what I'm hoping, too.
Yeah, I mean, you just signed the contract. I hope he's being used in more than just the blocking and occasional route running.
I think it's
capacity.
still about who they're playing too. What kind of defense they're playing, whether they're using juice more or, if they're using more of a single back set. We'll see.
Rosen haters, he's no worse than Darnold.
We're gonna get to Rosen at the
Just
end of the
Nico,
episode.
yeah, just patience, man. We'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there. We still got some time.
I mean, somebody tell me what Darnold had. I mean, what
What has Josh Rosen had? What has he done that?
what's his upside? Please tell me what Grant Cohn says in his videos because I don't watch them. So just tell me because I know that he thinks there's a lot of upside for Rosen, and I want to know what they are. I've watched him since college. This guy can tell you that when he was getting drafted, I told him straight up, this dude's a bust. He's no good.
Well, of
And
course,
I
he's
am
a
not
bust.
coming off
He
of
went
that.
to UCLA.
Well, it's not even that. It's just the dude had major flaws coming out, and people literally drafted him because of his height, weight, and arm strength.
And
that was it.
And the intelligence factor, the
He's a
IQ factor was
t-shirt.
really high.
Really?
He's
That was the
quarterback.
thing. He's a t-shirt quarterback. I mean, that's a good.
And just straight up too, we weren't high on Darnold either. I'm still not high on Darnold.
I'm a USC fan, and I didn't like Darnold.
Darnold is a butt fumble away from Mark Sanchez. Period.
I mean, that's like the fourth time you've said that. So
At
I mean,
least.
he's dead serious about that, folks. He's dead serious. JLE asked, or he said, or Alex Smith. It's possible.
I get that brought up a lot. Yeah, a lot of people will talk about Alex Smith.
I wouldn't hate him as a backup.
No, absolutely not.
It's really the offense. I mean, people complain right now. Let's say this: we all love Alex Smith,
Yes,
but people complain about the offense under Jimmy Garoppolo not going down the field,
It's gonna
not
be
being
worse.
able to make the outside throws to the to the sideline outside the numbers.
it'll be worse.
That would be check down heaven.
Yep.
So if you don't want to see Deebo Samuel and Ayuk get the ball down the field or George Kittle, and you want to see Raheem Mostert catch swing passes or circle routes, then you want Alex Smith.
Hey, listen. We all know the circle routes work, especially against the Arizona Cardinals. They've burned them multiple times with that route. So in those games, if Jimmy goes down and you just want to give Jimmy a break, Smith's probably the perfect option.
I hope they do realize the first time Simmons tries to cover Mostert on a circle route this year, he's going to break back out, and he's going to be wide open.
Hey,
It's inevitable.
Leonardo Cruz with the comment of the day. I think Grant is a secret Hawks fan. He's so negative.
He might be a secret Hawks fan, or a lot of the thing with these guys, these big writers too. A lot of them, and this isn't to like bash on them or anything like that. It's all about clicks, getting you to click on, see what they're saying, and all
Yeah.
that. So they're gonna say the thing that they need to say to draw the most attention, bring you to the page, and get you to try and see it. I don't even know if he believes half the stuff that he says. to
Or
be
he
honest
was
with
just handed his dad's job.
Yeah.
you. There's that potential.
I don't know. I mean, as far as Grant goes, let's be honest. I used to watch his videos pretty consistently just to see his point of view on things. A lot of the times, he's just dead wrong when it comes to football things.
Yes.
I mean, he knows about contracts and that kind of thing, and good for him. But when he's breaking down actual film or football knowledge, he struggles. And so I can't go to him for that. And every time that somebody watches a video and they come to me and say, "What the heck was that guy talking about?" That's pretty much what we all feel. I think Grant Cohn's a good guy, and he does his job the best that he can do, and he gets a lot of people to click.
Mhm.
Hey,
And he makes good money doing it.
Great
Hey, good
job.
for him making
Good for
money
him.
like that.
Absolutely.
And he does have good points. He gets access to the team. 100% good job for him. It's just to me, I can't watch him anymore because he will sour any situation. He's like sauerkraut on a hot dog. I want my hot dog to taste delicious, and he kind of brings it down for me. So
That was a beautiful
Just glorious.
analogy.
you're welcome.
Gosh,
Just-
what?
So
What-
occasionally, a little sauerkraut's okay.
Did you ever think
Little bit.
about being an English teacher? My God.
No, I didn't. History, maybe.
Hey, I can see that. I can see that. But Kyle knew Richburg was hurt, Garland was hurt, and Kyle thought he could just plug anybody in and play, and you see
Kyle?
where that got us.
Little signings?
No vocal leadership on the line. Now we got Mack.
Well, who do you know was hurt? You said Richburg, and who else?
He said he knew Richburg and Garland were hurt.
Garland got hurt during the
Yeah,
season.
Garland got hurt during, I think, training camp.
During
I
training
believe.
camp. So-
Richburg was hurt. Yes, the thought was he was going to be able to come back mid-season. So that is entirely accurate. That point of it. Garland got hurt. At another time, they expected him to be the starter until Richburg got back. And Brunskill was the backup. That's why he took snaps in training camp.
They took a chance last year.
Yeah.
That was the move. So Shelton, that was the decision. The decision was to take a chance and hope that Richburg was going to get back. Unfortunately, it went the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And we ended up with a crazy situation on the O-line, and that's why they made the move for Mack, because it's not only a veteran guy who is probably one of the top 10, 12 at the very bare minimum in the league at the center position.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a guy who's a former Pro Bowler, but he's not only he's also a guy that's played in Shanahan's system before, so you don't have the learning curve.
And when you're looking at the way Kyle Shanahan builds offensive lines, he's done it everywhere he's been. A very good center, very good left tackle, a good tackle, and then the 2 guards are kind of the weakness of the team. So as far as the 5 offensive linemen, so that's why it makes sense, kind of the moves that they make. Laken Tomlinson was a trade, somebody that didn't work out in Minnesota, or was it Detroit? I can't remember, but one of those.
Detroit.
Okay.
It's true. And then Scott Royals with a great comment. Jones, Verrett, Mosley, Solly, Spoon. Offseason narrative has always been half the defense was going to follow solid at the Jets, and not one guy has so far. I think these guys love being in San Francisco. Agreed with you.
Yeah, I think so. I think they like the winning culture. They believe in what's going on. I think that they understand that these guys really, that the front office really cares about them, that there is a business side to it, but they always shoot them straight. And I think it's a good sign because people have brought up, it's a good point, that there are so many taxes here in California that it's rough for these guys. You're working at a disadvantage when you're trying to sign free agents. You can go to Florida, Texas, Nevada, make more money. And so the 49ers are at a disadvantage. But because of the culture, they're able to make these signings. That's a great point.
By the way, Monica, I actually agree with you that Cone does have good guests on his show.
He does.
And when those guys come on his show and break down film, they do a great job.
They do.
I totally agree with you.
Those are the ones that I can watch. I like those ones.
Well, I like Vish. I like Jason Aponte. I'll listen to those guys. Yeah, I'll listen to those. Those guys are good. When they did the round table with all the guys, Jason Aponte hosted it, and they did that. That was fantastic. Good. That was a good job. I listened to the whole thing. It's not that Grant doesn't have good guests or even good points. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of us would say that.
It's the depth in which he tries to go in with film.
The negativity.
Well, it's the negativity. I think it just goes. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes you have to shoot it straight. Tell us exactly what it is, so that way everyone understands that. Hey, this is how it is. And then sometimes you're just being negative.
It's true.
What do you think?
We'll take another 2 or 3. We'll take another 2 or 3 questions. Raul Burgos said, "Who do you feel would be the best QB in the draft that we can get?"
I think we all pretty much agreed on Zach Wilson, right?
I think the key there is that we can get.
Yeah.
Because if the key is, can he make it past the Jets, Horse? Is Zach Wilson going to make it past 2?
So if we're talking that we can get at 12 without moving, I don't really know that I'd want who would fall there.
It's Trey Lance or Mac Jones that are going to be there. One of those 2 guys could be there at 12. And they could all be gone. We don't know.
It's true. It's going to be interesting. I would say, if we're just being realistic, if the only guy that's not available is Trevor Lawrence because he's at 1, and you just don't know what the Jets are going to do at 2, whether they're going to be in love with a guy like Fields or if they're going to be in love with a guy like Wilson, all signs are pointing to Wilson. But until we know with more certainty, I would say that the best option that the Niners could get of the rookie QB class would be Zach Wilson.
And if the Jets move off of or sign Wilson, does that mean they move off of Darnold and then does Darnold become a trade,
I hope
a trade
not.
target? I mean, that might be also a possibility. I hope not as well, but it could be. And he could end up being the 49ers backup. That's also a possibility.
Yeah, we don't need Dwight Schrute.
Oh, my Lord, man. But the real question is, do we like the 49ers cutback more? I know we do. We're a little biased, though.
Yeah.
Personally, I like us more. No?
I do.
Is it me? Oh, it's me. Oh, it's me. Oh, man, that's
throwing blems.
That hurts. That hurts my soul.
If you don't know what a blem is, it's a subliminal. Just breaking it down for you. Out here, they be throwing blems all day and
Blem Road.
Yeah, there's Blem Road out here.
It is true. I wouldn't mind Kellen Mond at 12 for the 49ers. Absolutely not, under no circumstance.
Who said that?
Antonio Rosales.
Well, you know what? Antonio Kellen Mond. I know Chris Sims is way high on this guy. At 12, I don't know, but I mean, Kellen Mond is an interesting prospect. A lot of athletic ability, interesting throwing style. Reminds me of Colin Kaepernick. I know I was telling Horst that, and he said Chris Sims said the same thing. But I mean, I don't know. It all depends on Kyle, who he falls in love with. And if he's that much in love with Kellen Mond and he's afraid that he might go in the first round, he could 100% take him at 12, which nothing surprises me with Kyle Shanahan. Something got said in the chat.
Yeah. Tommy says he's Mr. Subliminal, by the way.
I like
He
that.
is. Yeah, the Italian in the middle. I'll remember that. I'll remember that, Megan. I'll remember that. girl.
I'll tell you.
Wedding
The
in
other, I'm not gonna repeat one.
No, we won't. Hey, we appreciate you being here, Raul. Absolutely. Jay Ellie said he's not big on the Texas A&M QB. It's hit or miss. I've seen some good from Kellen Mond. I've seen some bad from Kellen
Yeah.
Mond. The real question is just going to come down to, was some of his struggles at Texas A&M just due to the struggles of the team itself, or, is it him? Is it him?
I think one of the big things that are in his favor is he ran a pro-style offense. Jimbo Fisher, pro-style offense. So
True.
That is one thing that goes for him. And he has tremendous athletic ability.
You good over there, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
You dying, horse?
I think he is. I think for right now, let's gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
We went significantly longer than I think we were gonna go for this, because the idea was to come in and give a quick wrap up. But there's so much stuff that happened even just in the couple hours before we got on.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. We enjoyed this. This was a good time. You want to stay tuned for Friday specifically, because Friday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, right here on this YouTube channel, we are going live.
Yeah, we're going to go live again, and we're going to be breaking down free agency, everything that the 49ers have done to that point, which I'm sure could be more. Also, prospects on who the 49ers are still targeting, which is going to be important as we move closer and closer to the offseason, plan that they've put in place, Horst.
Real quick, to thank some of the new people, or sorry if you're not new and it's your second time, but we got Raul Burgos, Tony Two-Tone, Shelton Wadsworth, Monica, Antonio Rosales, Leonardo Cruz. I know Jaron Austin, this is at least his second time. Scott Broyles, and I think Nico Wilson, this is your second time as well.
It is.
And of course, thank you to all of our regulars. Most people have caught your name by now because you guys are the guys that comment the most in here. Real quick, we did forget to talk about Josh Rosen. If you want to go over that right now,
You know what? We can real quick, right?
We can
got
get
enough
into
time?
we can get into
It's
Josh
only
Rosen.
It's only like 6:10.
You ready for we're going to do a Josh Rosen just for Cone or what?
just just for him,
I think
right?
so.
Listen, because he's all over this. Like every day, he posts something new about it.
So, Alex, coming out of UCLA,
Okay,
Sorry, Josh Rosen,
No,
we're out of
we
time.
can't do this again.
Hey guys, you know what time it is?
No,
Let's chalk another one
Don't
up.
do this again.
We'll get you on the next one, Rosen. Promise. This time we'll get you. I promise. From the alley-oops at Keysaw to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it